Hello everybody, welcome on SaunaWizards platform. Today we will talk about the coffee with coffee expert from Doubleshot company, Terezka Balá. Enjoy the watching.
Terezka, I'm excited about the roastery mission or the process because you now described me a lot of variety of the coffee and man who is he's responsible for also the taste or the final quality. So he had in the stock. I don't know how much variety, and so he just said, maybe this one, this one, this one.
Okay.
Or is it some rules, or is it depend on your imagination? But I have the good day, so I can choose this one and this one.
So the main role of the roaster, the man in our woman
Yeah,
who
of
is
course.
responsible for roasting the coffee. If I speak about our roastery, it's mainly the process of all team around the roastery. So it's not just the one man or woman who would be responsible for all these things, but it's some kind of cooperation. So we source the coffee from all around the world, mostly from Africa and South Africa and Central America. And the important thing for which I didn't mention is that the coffee is like a seasonal thing. So not in every country we harvest the coffee in the same time. That means that it won't like come to Europe in the same time. So we every 2 weeks, let's say, we have some delivery of fresh green beans. And then we have to somehow store it. We have the advantage of having freezers for the green coffee, which is quite kind of like a new thing, because usually the coffee was and is still stored in normal environment like this.
Yeah.
But if you freeze the green coffee, then you can somehow prolong the freshness of the coffee.
Okay.
Because green bean itself has a freshness at itself, same as the roasted coffee. In case of green beans, we can expect that the coffee will taste good like within 10-12 months max. And it depends. From time to time, it happens that after 6 months, the coffee is starting to get tasted woody. So if you can taste wood or paper notes in a coffee cup, that means that the green coffee was already too old.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have this advantage of having this freezer, so we can put the coffee in the freezer and like to get it like in 7 months, and we know that the quality will be still pretty high. So basically, we choose, for example, 5 to 6 coffee we have for roasting for our customers, because it's not really good to roast, for example, 10 or 12 types of coffee, because then you would have like a lot of coffee everywhere, and people can't really. As more choose you have, as more you are lost as a customer. So it's like better to have like just a smaller amount of coffee you can choose from. So basically, we have we call it single origin coffee. So as we are tasting now, it's for filter coffee. It's usually just
From
coffee from one country, and especially from one farmer.
Okay.
And after that, we have one blend. So it's a mixture of some beans. These blends we are creating mostly for espresso. Because in filter coffee, we want to enhance the quality of just one single bean, and so for example, as I said, we have now coffee from Nicaragua. From the farm is called El Poste. The variety is Pacamara, and the method of processing is washed. And from all these aspects, you can expect that the coffee will taste like maple syrup, like yellow fruit, and it's really sweet and really like light. But for the espresso, we want to have some blend of coffee from a few reasons. One of them is that we are buying coffee from small farmers in smaller amount, and we supply with this blend for espresso so many wholesale customers, we want to somehow like make a bigger amount of coffee.
Okay.
So that means that if we can easily do also some single origin for espresso, and we do it as well, but it would mean that we change this espresso every month, for example. So it's not really convenient for the stores or for the cafes. So usually they buy from us the blend, and blends contains from 2 or 3 coffees. So one aspect is the amount of the coffee, but second most important is that not every coffee itself tastes good with milk and by itself as well. So if you have your cafe or some coffee shop, you have to expect that your customers will buy mostly the coffee with milk as well, not just the pure espresso, and it's perfectly okay. But then, as a roaster, you have to be sure that the coffee will taste good with milk, because it can happen from time to time that some coffees are not really matching with the milk. So mostly the roaster will pick some 2 or 3 coffees and combine them together, and to reach to the point when it tastes pretty good as the espresso and really good as a cappuccino latte as well.
Is the kind of the blend still developed, or you have strict blends and nothing changing anymore?
Our approach is that we want to show this freshness to our customers and to get them used to it, that the coffee is seasonal. So that means that, for example, now I would order espresso in our coffee shop, I would get the espresso from the blend of Bolivian, Ethiopian, and Kenya's coffee in some percentage. I'm not sure, I don't know, 40, 20 or something like that. But in few weeks we will change it, because there's season of another fresh coffees, and it will be, for example, Brazil and Ethiopia 50-50. So let's say that we buy the coffee from the same farmers every year, or we try to, because not every time it will taste the same as last year, as we were talking about. So we can expect that for our summer blend we usually use Panamanian coffee. So there will be probably some Panamanian coffee in our blend, but it doesn't have to be the same blend like was a year before, because some taste could change. So we don't have very strict rules. Only what we want to experience in our espresso blend is like sweetness. There is usually some notes of chocolate, nuts, and cocoa. So our blend is more like the traditional way, even if we roast the coffee really light, so it's not bitter, but it could have some like the bitterness of a raw cocoa.
And how much time you spent on find the new blend?
I'm not sure, because I'm not in this process of our roasters, but they definitely, this is the thing that this is the all change. So as we were talking about our green bean buyers, the guy who is buying the coffee has to have the knowledge if this coffee will be good for the espresso. So let's say that in January we have the harvest season in Guatemala. Guatemalan coffee we usually use for our espresso blend, let's say in September. So when I'm in Guatemala, I have to we call it cup the coffee, to taste the coffee, and like decide if how big amount of the coffee I will buy to sustain our blends, which we will sell to our customers in, let's say, August and September. So the process is quite long. You have to plan before it, but the actual mixing of the parts, it depends how skilled the roaster is. I guess.
Cool. What is your favorite kind of the coffee or products from the coffee, and what Doubleshot is doing normally? What activities at the Doubleshot?
So I'll start with the roaster.
First.
So Doubleshot is a roastery. We are here on the market for we have an anniversary of 10 years this year.
10 years. Cool.
So we have the roastery, which supplies the wholesale chain of the cafes all around Czech Republic, but also we are trying to get our coffee to other markets. We have some customers in Germany, Poland, Slovakia as well. After that, we sell the coffee to like home brewers, as you are, who comes for our trainings, and then we have our free coffee shops here in Prague. So we sell our coffee also in our own coffee shops. What we want to enhance is the quality of the coffee itself. So we encourage people in drinking a filter coffee, so you really can enjoy the real taste of the coffee, but also you can enjoy it as a mixture of coffee and milk, of course, or normal beverages, cappuccino, latte, etc. And then we have a special like breach of our intention, is making coffee cocktails. So my colleagues, they are baristas / bartenders, and they can make the really interesting coffee cocktails. So the basic one is the Irish coffee, but they go much more farther. There's this whole area of expertise around making mixology of
and this is with alcohol?
Yeah, with alcohol.
Okay.
So, well, I do not drink alcohol so much, so I'm not a really experienced drinker. But definitely they are quite popular these days, and they tend to make like seasonal cocktails based on coffee. So.
And I think normally it's called these drinks.
Yeah, cold drink, but also hot drinks.
Yeah?
Yeah, we had some kind of. It was served in a teapot, and it was some kind of mixture of I don't remember exactly. It was tea, coffee, and some kind of herbs and spices, which was I think it was based on coffee from Ethiopia. So all the ritual of serving specific serving of coffee in Ethiopia was like mixed with the serving of this kind of cocktail. So that's also the thing.
I hear it first time that there are some coffee cocktails or something like this.
Definitely.
But Algier coffee or
these are the basis, like if you just put alcohol on the bottom of the cup and pour the coffee. It's easy, or put cream on top. But you can use so many kinds of alcohols, and also you can use the coffee as the part of the cocktail, not just the brewed coffee, but also some coffee bitters, we call it, or some cold brew coffee, which like enhance the bitterness of the cocktail. So it doesn't have to be like, you do not imagine just drinking the coffee, but more like drink a drink you would enjoy in bar, which contains the coffee, and it's like the important part of the taste experience.
So full time of the day you are surrounded by coffee. In your free time you have still taste for the coffee, or you are drinking just the water? I don't want to see the coffee anymore.
Well, when I was mostly barista, I drink a lot of coffee at work, because you have to set up your grinder every morning, and then you have to control the taste during the day. So I tasted a lot of coffee during my working process. But last 4 or 5 years, I'm mostly involved here in this training center in teaching future baristas, and also some homebrew classes I do. So I'm not so much in a process of setting up a grinder, so there's not so much opportunity to drink coffee when you have to, and it's much more opportunities to drink coffee when I want to. So I usually drink a cup of coffee in the morning with my partner. We are just this is the first thing we drink in the morning, and I'm fasting, so I'm not have any breakfast, and so the coffee is my breakfast. So I enjoy mostly the coffee like this: filter coffee, clear, no sugar, no milk, and just enjoy the taste of the coffee. And then usually I drink some coffee after lunch. I'm trying to finish the coffee, or to have my last cup of coffee around 6 or 7 o'clock, because after that I could fall asleep, but I can see that where I can feel that my quality of sleeping is not as good as it should be. So yes, I drink, and also I make coffee by myself, and also I go to the cafes. And what I enjoy the most is, as I said, the filter coffee. I prefer filter coffee to espresso. And I love the Kenya's coffee, the Colombian one, but mostly I taste what we have in a roastery, and that I like. What's fresh, I like.
So the Doubleshot company offer the normally coffee services and also the workshop. So if somebody would be interested, go through this workshop. Where we can find some info about it.
Definitely, every info you need, you will find in doubleshot.cz. We have mostly our trainings are in Czech, but also I can provide it in English.
Cool.
So if you will contact me, if you put it in the show notes or something, there my email address, you can contact me, and you can come for a course in English, but also in Czech as well if you are listening and you are Czech. So doubleshot.cz, there's everything. There's our e-shop of the coffee. You can order.
We have also the podcast.
We have
but only in the Czech.
Some episodes are in English as well, because our podcast is made by my colleagues, and they are talking about the countries they visited, because they are these green bean buyers. They are responsible for sourcing our beans.
And it's on the Spotify platform.
And on Spotify or podcast or Podbean or everywhere you can find your podcast. You can hear our podcast. It's called Doubleshot easily. And some episodes are in Czech, some are in English, so you can.
So if you want to listen some super story during your driving, just check the podcast. I think that during your day, like the barista, you hear many popular questions on the coffee, like what made the coffee soft or hard? Is there?
So what makes your coffee strong? Let's say.
Strong. Sorry.
Strong coffee. It depends mostly. Let's say variety. So what people usually experience as a strong coffee is blend of Arabica and Robusta. So if there is Robusta involved, then you can expect this really strong taste and like high bitterness. Also, it's because the espresso itself is like really strong on your tongue, but it doesn't mean that the Arabica couldn't be strong as well. So mostly the variety, the place of the origin, but also the method of roasting will also make a coffee not weak and strong, but let's say as darker you roast the coffee, as stronger you can expect.
And can you also change it during the final process, during the preparation?
A bit. Usually when you get your beans, it's like they have some given history, and what you can like sustain the level it is or get it lower. You can't really enhance the quality. But let's say that if you have coffee which is very dark roasted and you do not really like this bitterness, what you can do is always get the temperature of the water a little bit down around 92 degrees of Celsius. And on the other hand, if you have a coffee which you can experience that is somehow sour, you can a little bit cover this taste by using a bit high temperature of the water. So let's say go to 96 or 98 degrees of Celsius.
And normally when I'm going to buy coffee, some kind of espresso, I also have the glass of the water. Why? I need just the coffee.
It's to clean your palate. So you should drink a little bit of water before you drink your coffee, so you have like the clear mouth and to experience like all the flavors of the coffee. Another thing is that, or another opinion is that you serve the water because you should supply your organism with more of water water because the coffee is supposed to dehydrate.
Yes,
So then definitely it's a clever thing to drink a lot of water if you drink a coffee, but it's not like the necessary. This is more like the habit in a cafe to serve the water with the coffee, but it's mostly just small amount of water to clear your palate before.
I normally drinking this water after whole coffee.
Yeah, that's
so I will try to on the beginning.
Yeah, but it depends how much you like the coffee. So if it's good, you shouldn't drink it after. So you have it's nice aftertaste along with you. But if it's horrible, then you should drink it after that.
Because normally I get this water and I see what I can have to do is this to drink. And nobody say how is the tradition and why.
So it's supposed to be drink before that. Drunk before.
Maybe you have to write it on the paper.
Yeah, it's like I like do not restrict my customers what they are.
You have to drink it.
But what we are doing in our cafe, for example, we do not serve sugar automatically with the coffee. If someone will ask for the sugar, we ask him if he doesn't want to try it before just without sugar, because usually you put the sugar inside the coffee just before, because it's a habit, because you are used to drink this bitter, dark, herbal drink. But we tend to serve nicely prepared, nicely brewed, nicely roasted coffee, which has this taste all we talked about before. So if you try it and you say I need some sugar, we will definitely provide it to you. We are not like restricted it, but we want to encourage people to just try it without sugar. So for example, if you drink cappuccino and the milk is steamed properly, it has so high sweetness that it doesn't need to be sweetened more, but this is really depends on the.
You have two kind of groups. No sugar. I want 1, 2, 3, 4 spoons sugar.
I experienced all of that. It's up to the customer. I like my customers happy, but it doesn't mean that I will somehow forget everything what happens to the bean from the beginning to the cup. So I want people to try it, and after that, then it's your cup of coffee, and then enjoy it as you want. So.
My next question is also about it. We have the sugar, but we have also the spices like cinnamon or cacao or different. Cardamom. And it's also the tradition, or it's that you want to open to be more open for the customers, or use this for more experience, or.
So that depends. Traditionally, we use this kind of spices in the Eastern way of preparing the coffee. So, for example, this traditional Turkish coffee, you put to the pot finely grounded coffee and the spices and sometimes sugar as well. Mix it all with water and then brew it.
Yeah.
So that's the traditional way how to serve the coffee. In last, let's say, 20 years, we experienced for example, this cappuccino with the cinnamon on the top, but this is mostly to cover the aroma of a dark roasted coffee, which is, let's say, it's like roasted till the point when you can smell just the coals or carbon from inside. So to cover this kind of unpleasant aroma, they usually use cinnamon on the top, or you can experience to put for example, cocoa on the top of espresso and then pour the milk, so you enhance the contrast of the crema and the milk. So it's the more the visual thing of drinking the coffee. And then also there are some people who put their cinnamon to the espresso just to for some healthy reason. I think that the cinnamon should boost you or something like that. So again, I'm not against it. It's your cup of coffee.
It's a personal.
But but I would prefer just drink my coffee as it is and use the in case of making, for example, these cocktails. So it doesn't have to be with the alcohol, but you can have some special kind of coffee beverage, which is with the spice, but it shouldn't be like the necessary part of the drink, so you would be able to drink it. That's the main difference.
Can I meet somebody in the Czech Republic who is making this kind of the East culture, like the like with the herbs? I don't know.
Not really. I don't know about anybody who would do it regularly. From time to time, for example, in the beginning of this year, we had this kind of 1 week when we were serving our coffee, our partners and baristas in another coffee shop, and we did this.
So you are doing this during some happening or events,
exactly,
for the like the surprise of the event.
But I don't know about any cafes. Maybe there is definitely. I do not know every coffee shop.
I think it's also this process also costs the time.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not about the one espresso and go to the job.
But let's say that coffee takes time, and customers should be aware of it. So that's one thing. But I think that mostly the people are a little bit scared of trying this really new, but the old thing. Exactly. But I think that that was the plan for this year, to have a competition, and because we also compete in preparing with coffee. There's a few competition around it, and one of it is in this making coffee and spices in this Ibrik.
Okay. This traditional and traditional way of the
coffee. So hopefully next year there will be another round of competitions, and
how do you call it, these competitions?
Ibrik. IBRIK.
It must be a nice experience to see how they are working with everything and the material.
Our barista competed, I thought it was 2017, in World Championship in this Ibrik, and it was in Dubai. So I haven't been there, but the photos looked really nice. Another experience and new experience in a non-coffee shop.
So after this, I don't know how much we spend with this nice conversation. You can now, I think, see more what's in the backstage of the preparation of the cafe, from the beginning until the table with your cup of coffee. So I would like to thank you for this nice conversation, and
thank you very much for inviting me.
I want to follow more to the find more interest on the coffee cultures. I think very huge after this meeting for me. It's not just go to my favorite coffee bar, coffee shop, take the one espresso and goodbye.
Yeah, definitely. That's what we want to encourage people, just to think a bit more about the coffee. That there's a lot of work behind every cup of coffee.
So, and also depends on the climate of the nature. So take care about the nature, because if you want to taste good coffee, you need a good climate.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you there.
See you.